comes off the corner, but Mario Andretti wins the Las Vegas 200. Andretti accelerates off that last turn. There's the checkered flag for
Mario Andretti was born in Italy and didn't emigrate to the United States until the age of 15. At age 19, he began racing stock cars in Pennsylvania, and that was the start of an illustrious career that saw him compete and win in every single discipline he entered. He won races in sports cars, sprint cars, and stock cars, on ovals, road courses, drag strips, on dirt, and on pavement. He won at virtually every single level of racing since he arrived in America from his native Italy at a very young age of 15. Now, his achievements, legendary. What can I tell you? The world watched as he won the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, and ultimately the Formula One World Championship. No other race car driver has ever won all three titles. Now, Mario took the checkered flag, listen to this, 111 times during his career, a career that stretched 5 decades and across 6 continents. GOAT right there, greatest of all time. All right, today he's a successful businessman off the track, serving as a spokesman, associate, and friend to top executives around the world. Now, check this out. He has received hundreds of awards and recognitions. Amongst the most prestigious, he was named Driver of the Century. He was knighted by his native Italy, and the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. added him to its Living Legends list. Wow, that's amazing. He's been on GQ magazine. He's been considered one of the 25 coolest athletes of all time. I mean, look, the bottom line is that Mario Andretti is an unbelievable individual. Speaking to him was just incredible. I learned so much, and I believe that you're going to have a great learning lesson in the entire podcast here. So I want you to listen to it intently multiple times and take down some incredible lessons. This man is so humble, direct, so well-spoken, but the most important thing is that he speaks from the heart. All right, without further ado, Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti, what a pleasure to have you on, man, an honor. Welcome to the Man of War podcast. Now, first and foremost, what I want to do here is this. I've been a big fan for a lot of years, okay? And you're one of those guys that has transcended the typical athlete type. You have done things that you basically in the world of racing, you are the one and only, you are the GOAT. And you have done things that have been incredible. So what I want to do here first and foremost is you introduce yourself a little bit about, where you were born, and then we go from there in your life and how it took you into racing. Would love to know about all that.
Well, obviously, Mario Andretti, I was born in 1940, February 28th, 1940. And it was in what is now Croatia. Now it was occupied by Yugoslavia, the peninsula of Istria, where I was born, occupied by Yugoslavia in 1947. And under hardline communism, there was a choice to remain and succumb to communism or just leave. And we became refugees in our own country for 7.5 years in Tuscany. And about 350,000 people in that area left to remain Italian citizens. Anyway, in 1955, there was an opportunity to immigrate to the States. We had an uncle on my mother's side that had made a suggestion, and my dad figured, well, let's go to America for 5 years and then come back. And the rest is history. We arrived on these shores in June of 1955. Um, 2 years later, my twin brother and I started building a race car to race locally. 2 years after that, at age 19, we both started racing, and that's when my career began, 1959.
Wow, incredible.
And my last professional race was in 2000. I did 24 hours of Le Mans.
All right. So before we go into these races, because this is fascinating for me, I mean, what got you into racing? Was it something that you were younger and you were into cars and things like that?
You know, Rafa, I still haven't figured out why the sport captured my imagination. I'll say Aldo and I were twins, and we both had basically were attracted to the same thing. And way back, even while living in Montana, when we were 5, 6 years of age, we gravitated to something like this. We had a neighbor build a little buggy, so we used to career down the hill in front of the house and scare all the little old ladies and all that. And I don't know why we were just sort of breakneck already at the time, and the family didn't even have a car, So, but later on, while we were in a refugee camp, obviously, we were following the sport, through the media, and a lot of it actually was interesting. That we used to go to the movies, and they used to have intermission in the movies to just let the smoke out. And in between, they used to have news around the world. And what was really dominating that part was motor racing, because of in the 50s, that's when Formula One became official. And you had Ferrari, Maserati, Alfa Romeo involved, all of these Italian teams. And so that's it. That's what attracted us to the sport. And in 1954, some of our buddies across the street from the camp took Aldo and I to Monza to witness the Italian Grand Prix. And that's when we saw. I saw firsthand my idol Alberto Scotti, who was current world champion for Ferrari, and the mold was cast at that point. It seemed like from there on there was no plan B, but we had no idea, where, how we could ever get involved in this. But the dream began, and a strong one at that, of becoming race drivers.
Wow.
I don't remember anything else in my life early on to want to be anything but that. And that's it. We pursued that immediately when we had the first opportunity, once we came to America. And that's it. It's been, we've always had the most ambitious goals to go after. As a kid, you're allowed to dream, aren't you? So,
Of course.
we dreamt big.
Now, through your career, you were named 3 times, I have here, 1967, 1978, and 1984 as the driver of the year for the United States. Do you consider the late 60s and early 70s or mid 70s the pinnacle of your career? Give me a time frame where you felt that you were at your best.
Well, it's hard to determine that, quite honestly. There are so many factors involved. The teams, the moment, the competition. I feel that my career progressed to the point of, let's put it this way, it's like going to school. You don't want to repeat the same year. And so when I was progressing through the ranks, any time that I felt that I was winning, I was had my arms around what I was doing, it was time to go on and to progress and try to reach for the top. And once you reach the top level of the sport, like, in here in the United States, for me, it was Indy cars. Then I felt now that's what I need to cultivate and continue to cultivate and so on and so forth. And like I said, but, there were just moments in my career that were pivotal. And I don't know how to describe it even, but I always look back at what if this wouldn't have happened? What if that wouldn't have happened? I look back and sometimes it's just because of the times. I benefited sometime through somebody else's bad luck, such as injuries or even worse, by being able to pick up a ride. I'll give you, for instance, I felt ready to go to the top ranks, and there were some people that were looking at me, but then all of a sudden there was a tragic incident. One of the drivers, were a career-ending situation. Boom, all of a sudden I get a test, and then and that was the opportunity of a lifetime for me, to just be able to join one of the top 3 teams in Indy cars at the time, so,
Sure.
in moments like that. There were others, along the way, even when I was coming through the ranks, in 1963, when I won 3 feature races in one day. It was never done before at that level, and things like that. So again, these are launching pads, if you will, but you have to be there so ready to pick up whatever opportunity comes along. You got to be able to leap into it. And so I've had some of those moments. As I said, I was blessed with that, obviously. And then you got to take full advantage of whatever is presented to you.
So this is where I want to pick your mind here. I want to go into your preparation for a race, okay? Because being a race car driver, no matter what type of race you're part of, it takes balls of steel. It is a tough sport. So my question to you is, how did you prepare yourself mentally to get in, behind the wheel of this vehicle and go out there and win not just once or twice. We're talking 111 times. This is a consistency of excellence that you built into your psyche, into your spirit. So I want to dive into that.
Well, here again, number one, it's important when you're driven by passion and love. Something, you just look forward to just getting in that race car, having that opportunity. And this is something that I was fiercely driven, in that respect. And as far as, you say, there's a danger element. Yeah, of course there's a danger element. That's part of the allure, and even to some degree. But that's not what you dwell on. And you do not dwell on that part. Your mindset has to remain positive. Like whether realistically, you feel you're competitive that particular day or not, you always to me anyway, I always went into every single race of my career thinking that I can win it, whether it was a realistic thought or not. Because if you think otherwise, if you think, oh, well, you know what, I think I'm going to have a tough time today. Well, you're beat. You're beat before you even sit in that car. So it's the mindset, always so important, paramount to be positive. And I never even look back at. Many people say, well, what's your favorite track? This and that. They're all my favorite tracks. Because if you say, well, what I'm getting into tomorrow, it's not really the best place for me. But again, then you're done. You're beat before you
Sure.
get there. So it's all about, staying positive. And to be honest with you, sooner or later, you cannot predict, many of the things that could happen along the way, because you only have control of so much. I mean, it's the equipment factor. It's somebody else's potential mistakes. So many other things. So you just go in there with the fight in you, to just, what your job is to, what your job at hand is. And you just fight and fight and fight.
Sure.
And, to be honest with you, sooner or later, you get your reward. And that's the way it's been in my career. Like I said, I was always curious. Our sport is rich of several disciplines at the top level.
Uh-huh.
And as a driver, you have a choice to specialize perhaps in just one of them, and it's potentially even easier to do that. Well, I was never satisfied with that. I was curious as to what was happening on the other side with a different race car, different environments, and so forth. And and that's why I moved around quite a bit. I derived so much satisfaction personally out of just moving on to another discipline, and not only race there, obviously I have that opportunity, but also try to win in somebody else, win at the game in somebody else's sandbox. That's the way I can put it.
Right. Yeah. I got you.
And that's been my mantra, really. When I look back as to, did I have to race as many races as I have in my career? No. But to me, some of what really helped me satisfy, my needs was a wonderful, wonderful wife that I had. That she was not a race fan by any means, but she understood, what drove me, and never, ever, ever once did she make me feel guilty for being so selfish. She never say, how about a picnic this weekend? You don't really,
Okay.
whatever you're racing in, And no, I used to say, I'm not, I don't have in my main, the main commitment, okay, I don't have a race, but I'm going to race somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like that. So, and that was so extremely helpful to me to do that. And I only later on in life did I recognize how important that was for me to have the strength of a woman like that, and one that really understood, what made me tick and so forth. So there's so many factors in life that make the difference, all the difference in the world, as far as you just continue to go on and be serene about your job.
Mario, that's first of all, that's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. The reality here is this. I mean, you're telling me that your wife was not she wasn't a fan of the sport, but she supported you. That's big. And the fact that she let you grow and be who you wanted to be, and that's extremely powerful. And I think in life, sometimes, you're 100% with that. When you go out there and you have such a good woman supporting you, it could make the difference in a big way. So I admire that very much. You won Daytona 500, Indianapolis 500, and Formula One World Championship. All right. That's a big deal. I want to talk about specifically here about the Daytona, what the differences really were between each race. The Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, and the Formula One. Each race, I got to believe in your mind was a little bit different. Did you prepare yourself differently for each race, or when you just sat behind the wheel, you were like, all right, I'm all in, let's go?
Well, you prepare. Obviously, the preparation is very important from the standpoint of trying to understand the criteria and of every race car, the dynamics of they are very important. How to go about things. Each one of these type of race cars, like a stock car versus a single seater. I mean, like day and night as far as the feel for them, the uh, the level of what I should say to reach the potential, of the limit, I should say, of that particular car. Coming in, specializing in single seaters, which is the purest form of our sport. Getting to a stock car, you have a tendency to reach the limit of the car so quickly and overdrive it. So all of these things, obviously, you have to pay attention to and trying to be mindful of and all of that. And but that's part of the challenge. That's part of the preparing properly. And you try to ask as many questions, even though people, not always are honest with you, because competition is such that not everybody, will be coming forth and
For
be
sure.
hard to be that helpful, but you have to read between the lines, and then and for the rest of it, you rely on your own,
Right.
ability to feel these things. And but when you move around at the top level, like I say, you go from an Indy car to a stock car or a sports prototype, or even on the dirt tracks and so forth. Each one teaches you something. I think that's beneficial along the way. I've learned that
Mhm.
as well. But at the same time, it presents a challenge every time. No question, a big challenge to be able to understand and overcome and try to be as efficient as the individuals around you that do this every day. Um, and so that's where the satisfaction comes in. I mean, it's for me to win Daytona, which obviously it's a crown jewel race of NASCAR. It would be the same as one of their top drivers coming to Indianapolis and winning Indianapolis over us. So as you can imagine, it was not that well received, at the
Right. Right.
moment, but for me, and it was not just a lucky break, I led 118 of 200 laps, and
Wow.
so I was a protagonist right from the beginning. I had the car, I had the right team, and it takes that as well. By the way, you can't do it
Sure.
alone. That's one thing that I was very fortunate. Just like whenever I had the first taste of Formula One, who gave me the opportunity? It was Colin Chapman, Lotus. Capable of being world champions, Ferrari, and you have to have the equipment, you have to have the team that's capable to give you the tools to be able to win. But then it's up to you to pull everything that you can out of that and make it happen. So like I said, there's so many elements that play here, but at the same time, it's a lot of work. But for me, I don't feel I've ever worked a day in my life, because I just love, what I was doing. I love those opportunities.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's why, I always say I count my blessings every day for all those things that happened to me, in the sense that I was searching and I found.
Wow. That's phenomenal. That's great stuff right there. Let's talk about fear a little bit. Um, when you got into these heated races and you guys are trying to pass each other, a race car driver. I mean, the ability to be able to, literally in a hair's breadth, just be able to make a little adjustment on your vehicle so you won't get hit or vice versa and spin around and get into a nasty car accident. Talk to me about maybe one incident in particular that you just felt like it was a very scary moment for you.
Well, yeah, I've had quite a few of those, obviously, as you can imagine. These are the things that when you're in a battle like that, a race in and race out, week in and week out, you got to be facing, some precarious moments. No question about it. I've been, like I said, I've dodged so many bullets along the way that it's just because I've just been lucky. It could have gone either way, where it could have been the end of a lot of things, but I don't know how to really to put a finger on that as to why, somebody upstairs were looking after me, in precarious moments.
Your awareness level, Mario, it has to. I mean, I could only imagine you are at a heightened awareness level. Making sure that you know exactly where you are on this track and the vehicles that are right next to you that may be, man, just a few inches away. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, but that's the nature of the beast, obviously, and that's really that's what you love. That's a challenge. I mean, the competition to be able to, even to trust, your competitor next to you, where any slight mistake could be a disaster. It's a matter of respect. It's a matter of a lot of things. It's a matter of studying your competition. There's some that if, oh man, I gotta watch this dude, and all that. So there's a lot of that, and it's all part of the game. It's when you're up against talents from anywhere around the world, you just it's your job to be able to try to recognize the qualities of the competitor, and how far you think you can trust. There's some that you're 100%, you feel, okay, we'll take care of each other. It'll be tight, but we'll take care of each other. Others, you figure, look out, just be very careful, and that's all part of the, part of the game. The thing about, you mentioned fear. I think the word fear, I don't know how to quantify that in our business. I think you should always have some concern, for sure, of things that you have no control over, because that's it. I mean, it's for real. But at the same time, if you have fear as we know it, you don't belong in this business. Right. And yeah, it's dangerous to be fearless, I think. But at the same time, there's a balance in between there. You do not dwell on a danger aspect, potential aspect. You just don't dwell on that. You study it, you just say, but at the same time, if you dwell on that and you start holding back 1 or 2%, you're not riding at the limit, and then you're done. You're done. There's got to be a confidence level there somewhere that you have to possess to be able to just stay at that 100% mark. And I was asked one time, as described to me qualifying in the race car. And I said, the only way I can say it is, if everything seems under control, you're just not going fast enough. What does that mean?
I love that.
It means that you're at the limit of potential disaster all the time, when you're trying to really, really be the best at something. And and again, it's convenient to hold back a percentage or two.
Uh-huh.
But then again, if you drive like that, if that's your effort, you're never going to win. You're never going to win. You're never going to set a record and any of that stuff. So it's how you look at things on a personal level. I can only know what's in my brain. I could not read anybody else's, but at the same time, I wouldn't change anything in my career. Obviously I would love to take some of it back. Mistakes, I've made plenty of those, no question about it. But at the same time, if I didn't have that drive, then would I have been able to accomplish, some of the things that I did? So all of it, it all plays. I mean, none of us are ever perfect, of course. Like I said many times, I look back and I think, man, if I had the luxury of take some of these, couple of these races back and so forth, I would in the New York Minute, but
Sure.
but you can. Then again, at the same time, do I say, well, should I have changed my style?
Uh-huh.
Or not? I say no. I say no. So that's it. I mean, sometimes there's price to pay by being a little bit too zealous, too,
Right.
trying to push a situation, trying to, and being somewhat unreasonable. But at the same time, that style overall worked for me.
So you were all in, basically. You were all in all the time. I mean, basically that's what it was. Okay. And I love that because there was no hesitation on your part. There was no, thinking twice about it. That's very powerful, without a doubt. And I mean, those are just phenomenal words that you're saying. It's in your mind. And when you're there, you're going out there. And if you are not pushing yourself to that 100%, the difference between somebody pushing themselves 98% and 100% is being a world champion. So
there's no question about that. No question about that. Like I said, it's everybody wants the same thing, and there's a lot of talent out there. Believe me. Over the decades, when I look back, I say, oh my goodness, look who I raced against, and so on and so forth, and how fortunate I was. And at the same time, the greater the talent that you're up against, that's what really helps you elevate your own game as well. Because there's always somebody that's better than you, somewhere in any situation. And when you recognize that, all it does is you don't say, oh, well, I'll never beat this so and so on. You know what? I gotta up my game somehow. Gotta figure
Sure.
out what they do, how they do it. And that's an ongoing thing.
Sure.
You never, ever, I've never felt that I've arrived, that I've, okay, I think I know what I need to know. I don't think I need to know anymore. I think I was learning. I'm learning today, and it's,
Right.
when you see this car right here that I drive, the two-seater even,
Yes.
You're learning little tricks here and there, even with that, because of, the characteristic of that car and everything else. And to be able to maximize even that part. It's like I said, you never really, I always had an open mind is what I'm saying, that, I'm still learning. There's still things out there that I need to know and keep an open mind about and all of that. And I think that attitude is very important.
Awesome. So let's dig in a little bit. You studied your competition. How did you go about studying your competition and getting ready?
Well, but being, you're observant. You watch. I mean, you've had the experience of following individuals, certain individuals, that have been better than you, that have beaten you a certain time and a certain day, and I figure, oh man, how did it do that? And so it's all about, it's an ongoing thing. Um, and
Did
and
you
you just
focus on the
don't.
way that they drive? Did you watch film? Did you go to certain races to watch them? Did you have a team go out there and scout, or how was it, especially in the early days?
Well, I can't say that, I specifically watched the film or anything, because I was always, I was out there active, so I had a firsthand look, see as to what I had to do, or trying to attempt to overtake and so forth, and how that individual was able to defend, which is an art in itself, without blocking in a stupid way of creating a dangerous situation. There's an art in be able to defend a position, and figure, man, you put yourself in that, oh man, how do you do that? And then he said, well, I said, I'm going to try this and that. So it's a constant situation where you after the race, even, you look back and you start reliving, some of those moments and so
Sure.
forth. And that's all that is. I mean, it's not a matter, okay, I'm going to watch this video, until the cows come home and all that, and I'm
Right.
going to learn something. It's not that simple. It really isn't. But it's all part of the game, part of the game. It's part of studying, part of trying to be able to conquer certain situations that it got you baffled to some degree,
Hmm.
and that's it. I mean, the other thing that you almost start thinking this way too, which obviously gives you some confidence. You let somebody else put themselves in your position. Like sometimes I'm leading, and I'm really hounded. I mean, pressured in every way, and then I put myself in that competitor's position, how tough it is sometimes to be able to try to overtake. And then it relaxes me in that point, and I can make things pretty miserable for somebody with just by being more relaxed and not making any mistakes because I'm pressured and all that. These are all elements. They're very, very important, along the way.
Talk to me about respect. All right, you said that there's some guys respected, some other guys didn't. I mean, was there an underlying code when you were racing out there?
Oh, there is, absolutely. You know that, and when you have high stakes, in every, there's you earn, you like to earn the respect of your competitors without showing weakness. And when you look at other competitors, I'm saying, you know what, this dude really, is good. They know what they're doing. And he's correct, and so on and so forth. And not stupid and about things, and all of that. I mean, it's almost an abstract, this respect thing, but when somebody's doing the right things, uh, and uh, and I feel among competitors, I think the respect is very, very important. It's important because if they know that they can trust you, then that they were not going to do anything really stupid, uh, uh, you know, uh, that could put you in a bad situation willingly, if you know what I mean.
Out of all the races that you had, what do you think? I mean, if there's one that you would kind of put in that centerfold of your life, which one would that be?
Well, I don't know if I can zero in on something like that. I mean, there've been events where, um, led flag to flag and all that. I controlled it. There are others where, take it for instance, and the Michigan 500 in 86, I started on pole and I had an issue with the engine immediately. I went a lap down and right at the beginning, and then I'm screaming at my crew chief and so on and so forth. And I said, well, we just gave it all up. And he said, no, he gives me courage, and here I go and win the race, make up the lap, and win the race. So
Incredible.
it teaches you things, where to stay positive. I said, you know what? Like an idiot, I was ready to give up, and it's my guy that gave me the courage and the confidence. And you know what? We're by no means we're done yet. And here I just put my head down, and I just drove like a man possessed. And before you know, I'm competitive. I'm up front, and we win the race. So a lot of times, events like this teach you something, and.
Sure.
But I've had a little bit of everything happen to me, quite honestly, as you can imagine. I think I drove in 876 races in my life, and
Wow.
so I've experienced just about everything one time or another.
Incredible. Now, the feeling of winning, it must be very powerful. But I want to switch the hat here and talk to me about your losses. If you were to take one race back, which one would that be?
Oh gosh, yeah. There was here again. There were a couple of those that I lost like the last lap. This Rick Mears beat me the last lap one time here again in Michigan, and only because I let my car down just a little bit. I was too confident. Oh, I got it, and made the wrong move on the last corner and all that. But all of a sudden I figured, well, that's not going to happen again. So yeah, there's,
Wow.
along the way, you do make some mistakes and let your guard down and too confident, and then you get caught out. But that teaches you something. And so it's all part of living a full existence, I guess.
How did these losses affect you? The next race, were you like, all right, put it behind me and just keep on moving? Or did sometimes you get down on yourself?
Well, you get down on yourself, of course. I figure, man, I'd love to take that one back. But at the same time, you just move on. It's okay. I think I made a stupid mistake there, and I just got to make sure that I don't do that again, type of thing. And you move on. You got to keep moving on. I always felt, don't dwell on the negative. Just I thought that was a big thing for me, to just stay on the positive side. And you can cry about something that you can't do anything about at the moment and lose yourself and something like that. And so again, I just move on. I know that I made a mistake. And I just, it's up to me not to repeat that under same, potentially the same circumstance.
That's awesome. So let's go somewhere that it's a little bit more home for you. All right. Your wife. Okay. And her supporting you through this time. Especially when you brought home, wins and losses. Would you ever get up to a level where you would be celebrating your wins so high and then kind of getting down on your losses, as we discussed a little bit here? Or you were a little bit more even keel? And more importantly, how did she view like those wins? Was it like no big deal for her and she was supporting you? Or was it something that she knew that you had that fire in you and she would celebrate that with you?
Rafa, you just touched on something very, very important here. And what really, really, really helped me was how grounded Deanne was for me. There was not a ticker tape parade, when I won and all that. And then just have the chin on your socks, if I didn't have a good day. Deanne always whether I brought a trophy home or not, I got the same welcome, the same embrace, the same kiss. And
Beautiful.
that was so, so, so important. But that was her character. You know, Deanne was a rock of Gibraltar, you know, and that's the thing that was so important for me. Again, and I've seen the opposite on some other wives and so on and so forth. Oh my goodness, you win. Oh, gee, well, what are you going to do next week? You know what I mean? So to be even keel, yes, you celebrate, yes, you do, and all of that, you know, but you don't have to go crazy, you know, because I don't care how fortunate you are, your wins are still going to be far and few in between, you know. So and not that you don't appreciate it, not that you don't, but you don't go overboard. And that's something that me, without even really realizing how good that was for me, you know. And so when I reflect and look back at, you know, in my private life and what this meant, that's, you know, that's when I figure, you know what if I didn't have that? You know, maybe I would have been fractured mentally or whatever. But I knew that if I didn't bring a trophy home from a long trip on the road, I would not feel resentment or anything on the inside, or say, oh yeah, what you know, what's happening to you, this and that. None of that. And I think that was the important part. That's what really that's what gave me longevity, you know, for one thing. But it just takes a team like that, you know, to really, someone that really understands you, understands your character even better than I did understand myself, quite honestly.
Those are incredible words, Mario. And yeah, there's no doubt that you can feel the love that you had for your wife, um, and the fact that she loved you no matter what. You would come home, and you know it was unconditional
Unconditional.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I
Yeah.
think that was your greatest gift, without a doubt, to help you become the man, the legend that you have become through all these years, and what you've given to the sport, without a doubt. Talk to me about other mentors that you had in your career, people that you looked up to. You said you had a couple of guys that you looked up to when you started, but men who have had an impact during your time, especially at your pinnacle.
Yeah, actually, I think what was really, really important for me is the team that, you know, I say individuals, mechanics, or team managers that I drove for, that would recognize, you know, how charged up I always was, and 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 be concerned about, me possibly trying to overdo things to get hurt. Really, really helped me at the beginning was when I joined the top ranks in IndyCar, was Clint Bronner. He was very astute crew chief, you know, a lot of experience, and his wisdom was beyond, you know, what I could have ever hoped for, you know, and how good it was for me, because he knew that I was always, you know, trying to impress even myself, you know, like I never felt that I was good enough. And he had to, you know, slow me down somewhat. So I could, he kept saying, you know what, I don't want to keep sending you a Christmas card, you know, in July, you know, knowing that you'll never make it to Christmas type of thing, you know. And just by relaxing me, by saying, you know what, as fast as you're going to go, it's good enough for us. It was really, really important for me, you know, to have that. And along the way, I had some, you know, people with wisdom like that. It was another one when I drove sprint cars, you know, very dangerous series there in USAC. Rufus Gray was another one. Along the way, you have individuals like that they didn't slow you down. All they do is made you think a little bit more and kept you from overdoing things, which is so easy to do. Like, when you're out there all fired up, you never think you're fast enough. You never think that you're putting enough energy, and sometimes you put too much, and too much obviously can be very, very dangerous. And I was one of those, quite honestly, at the beginning, and I needed to have individuals like that read through it, and I had that. I had those individuals that actually, maybe I could say, saved me even. And so, there's so many of these elements along the way that helped me tremendously.
That's incredible. You basically traveled throughout the world, and you must have driven, I imagine, hundreds and hundreds of different vehicles. What was your favorite car maker to this day? Is there a specific brand that you like?
Well, it's not just a brand; it's a type of car. If I had obviously just to choose one category, it would always be either IndyCar or a Formula One car, because those are the purest form of the sport. It's not a derivative of anything like say a stock car. It's a derivative of what you drive on the road. Okay, it's turned into a racing machine, but it's heavy. It's this and that. A sports prototype car, those are neat. They're really cool looking. They got all those qualities, but still, they're a derivative of what you potentially would drive on the road. So the purest form of the sport is single seaters. Those, you drive those like a laser. They're the fastest, the quickest reacting, and that's where I derive the most satisfaction as a driver. So that's clear. That was my specialty, no question about it. As far as the brands and so forth, I mean, I've driven some, the iconic brands available. I mean, it's driven Ferrari, driven Porsche, driven Lolas, driven Dalaras. You know what I mean? It's I've had those opportunities, and to drive, every specific brand that has made any, obviously that was part of our sport in a big way, one time or another. So that's where like I said, I feel that I've been so incredibly fortunate to have had a long career like that without any, real interruptions. As I told you, out of I think 876 races, I only missed 2 races because of injury, which I'm knocking on wood. Can you imagine, how fortunate that is?
It's an incredible career.
Fortunate, it's miraculous almost.
Yes. Without a doubt, that is a miraculous career. So tell me what you're doing nowadays. You retired in 2000. Okay, what would you start doing, and what, because you're in great shape, great spirits. I love to see a man like yourself going out there and still doing things.
Yeah. I retired. I could say, okay, I came out of the cockpit. I pushed the envelope as long as I could. In 2000, I was 60 years old. I came out of an IndyCar open wheel car at age 54. I won my last race in IndyCar, at age 53. It's going to be a while before I think that happens again. I think most drivers, they in the early 40s, they come out of the cockpit, but nevertheless, I loved this so much that I just tried to grab everything I could out of it to the end. And out of the cockpit, we have businesses and that we've cultivated with the right people, and use the same basic formula that we've used, during that I've seen, successful race teams as far as surround yourself with the best people possible, that have specialized people around you. That's that's a secret,
Right.
that's what you use, to be successful in business. And
Sure.
there's a lot of satisfaction in that respect. We use, like I said, I've used a lot of the same basic way to go about things, that when it was successful, on the other side, successful in whatever endeavor. And I derive a lot of satisfaction today out of staying very, very active, in the sport itself. I still drive, the two-seater, which actually it's fun for me because it gives me reason also to stay in shape at this stage of my life and all of that, and follow, go to races with my son Michael. Has got myriad of teams all over the world.
Nice.
And so the sport is still our lives, still the family life
Sure.
for us, and this continuous interest in a lot of things that keep us excited and looking forward to every time to something better. And so we're a very close family, both on my brother's side, my sister's side, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. I think that we have. We communicate with each other. I can, texting, we call the crazy Andretti's, there's everybody's current, what's going on all fronts. And so again, life is good.
Well, you and your wife did a good job raising kids and maintaining that family unity. And that's, you can see it the way you speak with heart, with passion. Just the fact that you're out there still, being excited every day. And that's such a great message, without a doubt. You look forward to living, and that's so important in our day and age now. You have purpose, you still have meaning, even though you jumped out of the cockpit, 22 years ago, you're still out there, which is phenomenal. Do you do any speaking engagements or anything like that?
Yes, yeah, we're quite active in that area as well.
Good.
I have a management firm that has been with me for quite a long time, and we always have something to do. We have some contracts, like with Firestone, Magnaflow, and a couple other companies.
Good.
And again, we have opportunity. We pick and choose, some of the commitments and so forth. But I'm on the road a lot and all of that, and I wouldn't have it any other way, quite honestly. And so, yeah.
Awesome.
I think things are good here.
Awesome, Mario. Listen, it has been an honor. I could sit here for hours and hours having a conversation with you. It has been an honor to have you on. This is definitely one of the more powerful podcasts that I have recorded. So much that you have, so much power and so much meaning in what you say. And the fact that you're a man that has been there and done that, but comes back home and puts so much credit to his wife and to his family and the support around him. It's humbling. And we need more men like you in our world, without a doubt. With that said, my friend, again, it was an honor to have you on, and this podcast will be released very, very soon. And we're looking forward to, hopefully here building a good friendship and doing some more things in the future.
Rafa, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Reading about you, and like I said, I told you, you're my kind of guy.
Thank you, Mario, for being on. What a great conversation with Mario Andretti. This was definitely one of the most powerful episodes that we have ever had. This man just speaks from the heart, and you could feel it. You can see it. So what I want you to do here is this: extract the lessons and start using them into your life. Remember, if you listen or watched a podcast, it's great. But if you're not integrating these principles into your life, You're doing yourself a disservice. To grow as a warrior-minded man, to step up in the heat of battle, you must be prepared for that. You must be prepared by learning, constantly improving. All right, my brothers, until next time. Your life may be challenging and full of dangers, but never retreat. Your last battle may be your greatest victory.